Chapter 23. Limited but Tenacious Thinking. At 6 o'clock, she got dressed, brushed her hair, brushed her teeth, and spread on her eau de cologne. I sat on the sofa reading The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The story began. My colleague Watson is limited in his thinking to rather narrow confines, but possesses the utmost tenacity. Not a bad lead-in sentence. I'll be late tonight, so don't wait up for me, she said. Work? Afraid so. I actually should have had today off, but those are the breaks. They pushed it on me because I am taking off from tomorrow. She went out, then after a moment or two, the door opened. Say, what are you going to do after the cat while we're gone? She said. Oops, completely slipped my mind. But don't worry, I'll take care of it. I bought out milk and cheese snacks for the cat. His teeth were so weak, he had a hard time with the cheese. There wasn't a thing that looked particularly edible for me in the refrigerator, so I opened up a beer and watched television. Nothing newsworthy on the news either. On Sunday evenings like this, it's always some zoo scene. I watched the rundown of giraffes and elephants and pandas, then switched off the set and picked up the telephone. It's about my cat, I told the man. Your cat? Yes, I have a cat. So? So unless I can leave the cat with someone, I can't go anywhere. There are any number of kennels to be had hereabouts. He's old and frail. A month in a cage would do him in for sure. I could hear fingernails drumming on the tabletop. So? I'd like you to take care of him. You've got a huge garden. Surely you could take care of one cat. Out of the question. The boss hates cats, and the garden is there to attract birds. One cat and there go all the birds. The boss is unconscious, and the cat has no strength to chase down birds. Very well, then. I will send a driver for the cat tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. I'll provide the cat food and kitty later. He only eats this one brand, so if you run out, please buy more of the same. Perhaps you'd be so kind as to tell these details to the driver. As I believe I told you before, I am a busy man. I like to keep communications to one channel. It makes it clear where the responsibility lies. Responsibility? In other words, say the cat dies while I'm gone. You'd get nothing out of me, even if I did find the ship. Said the man. Fair enough. You're somewhat off base, but you do quite well for an amateur. I shall write this down, so please speak slowly. Don't feed him fatty meat. He throws it all up. His teeth are bad, so no hard foods. In the morning he gets milk and canned cat food. In the evening a handful of dried fish or meat or cheese snacks. Also please change his litter box daily. He doesn't like it dirty. He often gets diarrhea, but if it doesn't go away after 2 days, the vet will have some medicine to give him. Having gotten that far, I strain to hear the scrawl of a ballpoint pen on the other end of the line. He's starting to get lice in his ears, I continued. So once a day you should give him ears a cleaning with a cotton swab and a little olive oil. He dislikes it and fights it, so be careful not to rupture the eardrum. Also, if you're worried he might claw the furniture, trim his claws once a week. Regular nail clippers are fine. I'm pretty sure he does not have fleas, but just in case it might be wise to give him a flea bath every so often. You can get a flea shampoo at any pet shop. After his bath, you should dry him off with a towel and give him a good brushing. Then last of all, a once over with a hairdryer. Otherwise he'll catch cold. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Anything else? That's about it. The man read back the items from his notepad. A memo well taken. Is that it? Just fine. Well then, said the man, and the phone cut off. It was already dark out. I slipped some chains, my cigarettes and a lighter into my pocket, put on my tennis shoes and stepped outside. At my neighborhood dive, I drank a beer while listening to the latest Brothers Johnson record. I ate my chicken cutlet while listening to a Bill Withers record. I had some coffee while listening to Maynard Ferguson's Star Wars. After all that, I felt as if I had hardly eaten anything. They cleared away my coffee cup, and I put 3 yen coins into the pink public phone and rang up my partner. His eldest son, who was still in a grammar school, answered. Good day, I said. It's good evening, he corrected. I looked at my watch. Of course, he was right. After a bit, my partner came to the phone. How did it go? He asked. Is it all right to talk now? I'm not catching you in the middle of eating? We're in the middle of eating, but it's okay. Wasn't much of a meal, and anyway, your story's got to be more interesting. I related snatches of the conversation with the man in the black suit. Then I talked about the huge limo and the dying boss. I didn't touch on the ship. You wouldn't have believed it, and already this was too long and involved, which naturally made everything more confusing than ever. I cannot begin to follow you, said my partner. This is all confidential, you understand. If it gets out, it would mean a lot of trouble for you. I mean, with your family and all. I trailed off, picturing his high-class four-bedroom condominium, his wife with high blood pressure, his two cheeky sons. I mean, that's how it is. I see. In any case, I have to be going on a trip from tomorrow, a long trip, I expect. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, I really don't know. Maybe I'll never come back to Tokyo. So I want you to take over things at the company. I'm pulling out. I don't want to cause you any trouble. My work is pretty much done, and for all it's been a co-venture, you hold on the important part. I'm only half playing in there. But I need you there to take care of all the details. Consolidate your battle line and go back to how it used to be. Cancel all advertising and editing work. Turn it back into translation office, like you were saying the other day on day yourself. Keep one secretary and get rid of the rest of the part-timers. You don't need them anymore. Nobody's going to complain if you give them 2 months severance. As for the office, you can move to a smaller place. The income will go down, sure, but so will the outlay. And minus my take, yours will increase. So in actual terms, you won't be hurting. You won't have to worry about exploiting anyone so much, and taxes will be less of a problem. It'll be ideal for you. Now go, he said, after some silence. It won't work. I know it won't work. It'll be fine, I tell you. I've been through it all with you, so I know no problem. It went well because we went into it together, he said. Nothing I've tried to do myself has ever come off. Now listen, I'm talking about expanding business. I'm telling you to consolidate. The pre-industrial revolution translation business we used to do, you and one secretary, and plus 5 or 6 freelancers you can farm out work to. There's no reason why you can't do fine. There was a click as the last 10 yen coin dropped into the machine. I fed the phone another 3 coins. I'm not you, he said. You can make it on your own, not me. Things don't go anywhere unless I have someone to complain to or bounce ideas off of. I put my hand over the receiver and sighed. The same old royal turnaround. Black goat eats white goat's letter unread. White goat eats black goat's letter. Hello, hello, said my partner. I'm listening, I said. On the other end of the line, I could hear his 2 kids fighting over which television channel to watch. Think of your kids, I said. Not exactly fair, but I didn't have another card to play. You can afford to be sniveling. If you call it quits, it's all over for everybody. If you wanted to strike out against the world, you don't go having children. Straighten up, square away the business, stop drinking. He fell silent for a long time. The waitress brought me an ashtray. I gestured with my hand for another beer. You've got me pinned, he said. He came back. I'll do my best. I have no confidence it'll go, but... I filled my glass with beer and took a sip. It'll go fine. Think of 6 years ago. No money or connections. But everything came through, didn't it? I said. Like I said, you have no idea how secure I felt because we started the thing together, said my partner. I'll be calling in again. Thanks for everything. All this time it's been great, I said. Once you've finished with what you've got to do and come back to Tokyo, let's do some business together again. Sure thing. I hung up. Both he and I knew the probability of my returning to the job. Worked together 6 years, and that much you understand. I took my beer back to the table. With the job out of the picture, I felt a surge of relief. Slowly but surely, I was making things simpler. I'd lost my hometown, lost my teens, lost my wife. In another 3 months, I'd lose my 20s. What'd be left of me when I got to be 60, I couldn't imagine. There's no thinking about these things. There's no telling even what's going to happen a month from now. I headed home and crawled into the bed with my Sherlock Holmes. Lights out at 11, I was fast asleep. I didn't wake once before morning.